I've talked to so many men who have gone through a divorce or who are also stuck in or is in the process of trying to get out of a relationship with a woman that they're absolutely not happy with. And I've noticed something in common that they all have, even something that I even realized about myself that I don't think is talked about enough in our community. And it's an important realization that we must have in order to put ourselves in the best position to meet that woman that we want to spend the rest of our life with. I recently hung out with one of my buddies, good buddies, who's also gone through a divorce just like me. And we were talking about our divorce experience and, what were the consequences of how we met our ex. And, it made me reflect back to 2010. At the time, I was working a great corporate job in a big city. I was also a DJ. I was building my DJ career, and I was playing out at some of the major nightclubs and after hours clubs in the city as well. And I remember telling him specifically, he was asking, well, what's it like, man? It must have been so easy for you to get women. And I said, you know what, to be honest, it was actually quite the opposite. And, for a lot of you who aspire to be DJs or think that DJs are like rock stars and get all the women, yeah, there's some instances of that. For me, I was very much the type who really loved the craft, who was there to entertain people, to play music for the people. And I wasn't really trying to pay too much attention to women at the time. There was even pictures that I had of like hot chicks dancing beside me. I remember one of my buddies like saying, hey, why don't you go get her number? I'm like, dude, I'm busy working. He's like, what? Like, hook me up. So I wasn't really the type to pick up women while I was on gigs and playing music at the clubs. And while I was explaining this to my friend, I was telling him, like, when I was playing after hours, there were so many times where, it was awesome, playing early in the morning to big crowds, getting them off. And then when things shut down at around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, it was some of the loneliest periods of my life. And, having to go home by myself. I didn't realize too at the time how depressed I was, and I was smoking a lot of weed, so that didn't help with depression at all. But I was a very depressed and lonely person without actually acknowledging it or realizing it. It's something that I never talked about. And, with that in mind, while I was actually DJing and playing out at one night, that's when I met my ex at the time. And, fast forward, looking back, I realized that the decision that I made to start a relationship with her, I was actually not in the best mental shape in my life. And I was a very lonely person. And I made the decision to start that relationship because I was lonely. I was coming from a place of lack. I wanted to fill my life or share my life with someone. And I felt that bringing a woman into my life would complete me. Now, does that sound familiar? There's a lot of societal pressures, telling us men that you need to find a woman, you need to start a family, you need to get a house and have kids and do all of this stuff. And there's so much pressure to do that some of us who don't end up doing that, we feel like failures. We feel guilty for not making decisions earlier to focus on building a family or finding a woman. But I'm here to tell you that's absolutely wrong. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we don't talk about nowadays, or I don't see a lot of people talking about this, is that for a lot of us men who end up in relationships that eventually break down the road, I'm not saying all, but there's a lot of situations where this is true. For a lot of us men, we were in a place in our lives where we were absolutely lonely, and we were simply making the decision to start a relationship with a woman and even start a family with someone because we were lonely ourselves. We weren't happy being alone. We weren't fulfilled being alone. We weren't in a place to accept that there is that possibility that there might not actually be someone that we could spend the rest of our life with. And so hence, we continue to move our life forward and continue our search for that woman from a place of lack instead of a place of fulfillment, happiness, satisfaction, being truly happy with who we are. And so, having this conversation with my buddy really made me think back to, was there any examples when I made the right decision? And absolutely, there was a couple women that I dated after I got through my divorce. And the first woman that I dated was a bartender who worked at a local bar. She was a lot younger than me at the time. I was 40, she was 28. We dated for about 6 months. We actually ended up going on vacation to Mexico and just got back before the border shut down in Canada due to COVID. So that was a whole different experience. But we decided to part ways after 6 months because, if you can tell, I had kids, I was divorced, she was young, wanted to have kids, so we wanted two different things, and we needed to part ways and start pursuing our lives in the direction that we needed to. And at that time, I told myself, this was a great experience, but what if I'm not going to be able to meet someone in this next chapter? Like, there is that possibility that from now until my kids become 18, that I'm not going to find a girlfriend or that new life partner. And it wasn't so much as a depressing thought, but it was more of a realization to be like, like, that was great and all with her, but I have so much in front of me to look forward to. I have my kids that I have to look forward to. I have this job that I was stuck at a dead-end job at the time that I absolutely hated, and I needed to find a way to transition out of that. And I was only living on my own for about a year when I met her. So, there was a lot of things that I needed to do in order to get myself ready for this next chapter in my life. And so I made the decision to, hold off on dating, not to try to pursue, dating women or meeting women for a certain period of time. And so I started working on myself. I started getting back into the hobbies that I absolutely loved, which was working out, playing tennis. I bought a tennis ball machine. I started hanging out with my friends, started building my tribe. This was our potluck crew that I mentioned in previous videos, and started living my life and started to be happy alone. Especially with the time when I was with my kids, because I was happier, I was more present. I was a better father to them, because I was able to now have more positive energy and be more in the present moment, spending time with them, because I was doing the things that I needed to keep my cup full, if that makes sense. And, after about a year and a half of doing that, I was invited to one of my best friend's daughter's birthday party. And, I went into the city, went to go see them, wasn't expecting anything. And all of a sudden, I noticed this woman at this party. And it turns out that, she was the widow of my best friend's husband, who passed away quite a while back. And, we connected a bit as friends. We started talking over social media, but it wasn't something that I ever expected to happen that day. And it was one of those stories where, when you don't expect something to happen, something great pops up in your life when you least expect it. And it turned out that, we had a lot in common. I lost a huge portion of my life. She lost her husband and was kind of in a similar situation. And we were able to relate on a lot of things. And we had a great 12 months together, or 13 months together, before we decided to part ways because timing wasn't right for her child. The long distance, it was just very difficult. So it was one of those things that was like great connection, but wrong timing. But I can honestly say that relationship wouldn't have happened if I did not first make that decision to be alone, to focus on being on myself, working on myself, being happy by myself, and also accepting the fact that there might not be someone that I'll be able to spend the rest of my life with. And I don't say that in a way to like with doom and gloom or to put you down. Like, it's not a harsh reality, but let's be honest, it's a reality that we all have to face as men, regardless if, I'm in my almost my mid 40s. I'm going to be 45 this year. This is also relevant for even younger men. I wish this is something that I knew earlier on so I could focus more on myself, build myself up, make sure that I'm happy by myself, so that way I'm in a better position to make better decisions with women down the road. And again, I would not have been able to see that this was a great opportunity for me if I was not in a good mental place by doing those two things. So what you need to do at this point, and I think this is something that a lot of men can benefit from, is number one, first, we must accept the fact that in our life, from now until the end of time, there is a possibility that we might not be able to meet that soulmate or that life partner that we're going to be able to share the rest of our life with. That doesn't mean that you're never going to, but acknowledge that that's a possibility in our current reality. And when you do that, then you also accept the fact that from now until the end of time, it's up to you to make the most out of your time on this earth with your family, with your friends. You know, one of the things I'll share is that, you know, one of the caveats that I'll share is that you don't want to go into monk mode and fully isolate yourself during this time if you make this acceptance. This is not what I'm talking about, because if you do that and you stop engaging with society, and especially with women, you lose touch with your ability to connect with people, and especially dancing with the feminine energy. So still engage with women. If you want to date, go on coffee dates. Don't have meaningless sex, but still engage with the feminine. Have friends who are females as well. Even just talk to women, whether it be at the gym or on the hiking trail. Just never lose touch with socializing with them, especially during this period, because you don't want to lose touch with your ability to connect with them. So by the time you're ready to actually start a relationship, it's not going to feel foreign. So first step is really just accept the fact that you might not be able to meet someone that you're going to share with for the rest of your life, and know that that's a reality, because that also gives you permission to live the life that you really want to live right now, and do things for yourself and not feel selfish about it. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is do the things that make you happy. So, you know, for me, it's really playing tennis, going out on hikes, cooking, spending time with my kids, playing video games with my kids, you know, doing group activities with my tribe. You know, we do potlucks where we cook different cuisines from around the world, and we get together and just, you know, connect and talk about life and family and kids and everything in between. Do the things that you want to do that make you absolutely happy. And when you do that, your cup starts to get full. You feel like you are fully satisfied and happy with your life, and you're no longer living in a place of lack. And when you are in that place, when you start meeting women again, it's going to be a lot easier to make better decisions on, is this person now going to compliment me, or are they going to take me back a few steps and I'm not going to be happy? And, you know, when you work on yourself, the most important part that I realized that was missing in my life was my own peace, creating my own peace. I think this is something that all men really benefit from, and is something that we're all seeking for. And we need to find a way to create our own peace in our life, so that way when we do meet a woman, we can make a decision to say, okay, are they going to interrupt my peace? Are they going to just completely destroy this? Or are they going to add to that? Are they going to be more supportive? When I met, you know, my recent ex, the one who I dated for 12 months, the one who gave me the best dating experience in my life so far, she absolutely supported me where I was going. Because at the time when we met, not only was I in a good place, but I was on a mission. You know, I was in the middle of transitioning from a very toxic environment at a previous job, found myself a way to start a new job. I was also working on myself as well, and also doing the things that I needed to do for my life. And I was in a very good place. And meeting her, I recognized that through talking with her, understanding where she was at in life, it was not going to take away from my peace. It would actually add to it, right? So that's why that's so important, is to take that approach in working on yourself first, so that way you can recognize if someone is going to bring you more peace or take away from that peace. You know, on that note, I did actually start connecting with a woman about 4 months ago at my gym, and when we went for coffee and went on a date, it was just a different energy. I could tell that we weren't on the right in the right place in our lives, and she wanted different things. And so we parted ways, but it was that much easier for me to just kind of let that go and say, you know what, you pursue what you need to do. I'm in a different place. I need to go in this direction. And it's so much easier to let go of them as well when you do meet the wrong person, but you do want to wish them well, right? The third and final piece that I share with you, the most important tool that you could leverage as you start focusing on yourself and as you start building your peace and getting prepared for, you know, possibly either meeting someone or not meeting someone for the rest of your life, is getting on semen retention and NoFap. I'm going to share a link at the end of this video that I created that talks about the benefits of going on semen retention, NoFap, and combining that with Body Game. But these are tools that you could leverage to enhance your life, but also give you the mental clarity that you need, give you the energy that you need to put into whatever hobbies, projects, or whatever things you're trying to build in your life. These are essential tools that you can leverage that are available at your disposal. And after all of that, if you can be in the place where you're no longer living in lack, where you don't feel lonely, where you're searching for a woman just for the sake of filling your life, you'll realize that there's going to be different options of women that the universe is going to present to you, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to decide, is this person going to complement my life or take away from it? So I hope this finds you at the right time. Thank you all for all of your support. I'm so blessed to have now surpassed 100 subscribers. I'm looking for your comments below. If there's anything else that you feel is helpful in meeting that next person, please comment below. But I hope this helps you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.